Well, good morning to you. It is the last day of August. Can you believe it? August the 31st. Yeah, it's a Monday, but that's all right. We've got another work week headed your way, and we are here with your HCC news and information. Welcome to Up to the Minute. We've got a couple of special guests we're going to introduce you to in just a few moments. But first, I've got two co-hosts today. Of course, Brittany Pacheco. She's always here. No big deal there. Good morning, Brittany.
Thanks, Todd. It's great to see you too on this Monday morning. Who's always here, always here. No, I'm just kidding.
Always here.
But good morning, everyone. Before we introduce our other co-hosts, I'd just like to ask everyone to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And last but not least, please share this podcast so that we can increase our audience.
That's right, Brittany. Of course, we're going to have more with you in a little while, but also Raquel Sims joins us from Fort Bend County with Stafford news and updates. Of course, we want to include all of our HCC community. Good morning to you, Raquel. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanking God that, things shifted with the storm Laura, and I'm actually happy to be here every Monday. I'm not here every day, but Mondays are my good days.
We are glad to have you on Mondays, and you're welcome here anytime, of course. Well, we've got a couple of special guests. Raquel, we're going to be back with you in a few moments as well. We've got a couple of special guests today. First off, I want to introduce Festus Amoye. He's a former Black History Scholarship recipient and CEO of founder of Laddering Your Success. Good morning, Festus.
Hey, good morning, Todd. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm glad to be here this morning.
We've got a lot to talk with you about, especially about an event you guys had last week. We'll update everyone on that in just a few minutes, and we'll be back with you shortly. But first, I want to introduce our first guest, Dr. Emmanuel Ewane, of course, from the Chemistry Department, the chair of the Chemistry Department, Academic Center of Excellence. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Thanks for being here today. I want to talk to you about your program. We've been promoting, of course, our Centers of Excellence. We do that quite often, and we're glad to have you on the show. Let's talk with you about some of the changes the program had. Things have shifted since March for all of us. We're now working at home, and your department is delivering education online. How's that going right now?
Oh, much, much better than what happened the other time around. At least this time we had some time to plan, and we got into it, and we're ready for it.
So spring and summer, how did those classes go delivering online? I know a big part of your students is to do a lab in person. How were you able to work that out with doing the didactic portion of the courses online, but also in coordinating some type of interactive lab as well?
Yes. It turned out to be pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good. We had both videos and virtual labs, and we used both of them in order to give the students, the hands-on experience that we actually want them to have.
Has your perception of virtual online teaching changed since we started all this?
A little bit. I wasn't a very serious advocate of it, but now I see some improvements in it.
So tell me about the plans you offer through the chemistry program. I imagine you offer a 2-year degree. Is it a seamless transfer to other colleges and university for those wanting to get a 4-year degree? And can you go out and get a job with a 2-year degree in chemistry?
Very true. Yes, you can get a 2-year. You can get a job with a 2-year degree in chemistry. Usually in the plants, you have like the mid-management level, like plant processors or lab assistants. The 2-year degree will actually land you such a position.
Are those jobs plentiful right now in the age of COVID? Are these jobs still in high demand, and that they fall under the essential workers category?
It depends on the environment. But if you're working in a chemical plant, yes, they are one of the essential personnel in a plant.
So your jobs work obviously in chemical plants in the petrochemical industry, but they also work in the medical field. I imagine having a chemistry degree could give you a broad range of opportunities working for various different types of fields.
Yes, again, it depends on what you really want in life, but the opportunities are there, they're plentiful, and there are different types of chemical plants and different types of pharmaceutical laboratories. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for those who graduate with a 2-year degree in science.
And what you mentioned, lab assistant is one of the job possibilities. What are the job possibilities for your graduates? What are the titles and what is the earning potential?
That also depends on which of those industries to get into. But usually they get in the mid-range level. You know, they could start them with about, you know, at least the high 30s or the low 40s.
And that's the starting pay you're talking there, but I imagine your earning potential increases as you develop a career and get some experience under your belt.
That's very true, very true. The longer you stay in the plant, the paycheck increases every year.
You talked a bit about doing your labs online and making them interactive. What was that experience like when you had to develop those labs so that students could complete their program and their courses?
Oh, this time what we did initially, when we knew that we weren't going to start the semester, a normal setting, that is back to school, we reached out to our partners, the publishers, and they came on board. What I did here at HCC was created committees, subcommittees, to work with different publishers. And they helped us out tremendously.
And you were talking the publishers of the textbooks and the materials that you're using in your curriculum, correct?
That's very correct. Like Cengage, like Pearson.
Were they very willing to work with you on this? I imagine this was a new world for them as well.
Yes, they were very willing. It was a very good partnership that we formed. And that is why I said earlier that my idea about online learning is changing a little bit. Before, I wasn't a very strong advocate for it. But now I see some positive signs in it.
What's been the reaction of your students with the online learning?
Initially, most of them asked questions. Why are we going online? Why not stay in the classroom? Because as I said last time, our students are special in a way that they like the face-to-face connection with their instructors. But they get into it, they get into liking it, and they're feeling very comfortable about it also.
As you move into the fall, we've got 4 different types of modalities that we're offering to our students. Are your students more ones that are enjoying the online anytime or online on a schedule where they could meet with the instructor and their colleagues as well when they're in the classroom virtually? What seems to be their preference?
Generally, students love the online anytime. But I had a conference with my dean and I pushed very strongly that for HCC students, they should have the online on a schedule where they could have a forum like you and I talking. You are on the other side, I'm on this side. The students are listening to the professor give the lecture and they can interface. They can call, they can ask questions and they get immediate answers. So that's what I'm pushing for, the online on a schedule.
Do you see the delivery of online education now here to stay? Do you think it's going to be growing more even post-COVID? We're supposed to get back into the buildings sometime in October, I believe October the 5th, with some limited students. But do you see this modality of delivering online being the wave of the future and the way that you're going to be delivering an education?
very much so, especially online on a schedule, because you can tell the difference. The students prefer the online on the schedule because, as I said earlier, they can interact with the instructor, ask questions, live questions, get the live answers. So I see it hanging around for quite some time to come.
Dr. Emmanuel Ewane, thanks for joining us here and updating us with the going-ons in the chemistry program. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. All right, we're going to move to our next guest. We talked about him earlier, Festus Amoye. Now, Festus, you're a 2012 recipient of the Black History Scholarship, and I think this is totally cool because you're also now on the foundation board. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct. The HCC Black History Scholarship was the first scholarship that I earned. And HCC gave me my first chance for pursuing higher ed. And so earning that scholarship was a big motivation, having lost my parents in high school. And so just to be able to kind of go full circle and help the foundation raise money for other students and empower other students, it's a great joy of my life.
I want to talk a bit about your background because I've read through your story and it's very inspirational. Your parents immigrated here back in the 80s, and you are you're the second of 4 children, and you lost both parents when you were a teen. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. They came from Nigeria. They started off in Oklahoma, and there's a large Nigerian population that was growing here in Houston. So they moved to Houston, and we grew up in and around A-Leave schools. And unfortunately, we lost them, when I was in high school.
How was it then working with your brothers and sisters, with your family, keeping everyone together? And then you're living the American dream right now. You really are. You founded your own company. You made it through. You went through college, and you were able to gather a lot of scholarships while you were going through college. That's an incredible story.
Yeah, correct. So it was really difficult at first because since they passed away when I was a freshman in high school, my brother had just graduated, and we had no family here. My sisters went back to Nigeria. They lived there until they actually graduated from high school there. So about 10 to 12 years. And in that time, for me, one of the things that I could clearly see was my responsibility as a big brother and also as a child to honor my parents. And so that was really important to me, and that became a driving force for me. And again, I graduated from Hcc High School, went into the military as an Army Reserves for ended up being 10 years. It was a long time. But yeah, it was wonderful, and came back to Houston, graduated from HCC and then Houston Baptist University, earning about $87,000 in scholarships.
That's incredible. And now you're the founder and CEO of Laddering Your Success. Tell us about that and what it's all about.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So in my time trying to transition post-secondary, I realized it was very difficult for even normal students to figure out what they wanted to do after they graduated high school. And of course, with rising student debt, and in my situation, I didn't have parents to lean on for any kind of financial support. It made me very, not as skeptical, but just concerned about how much debt I'd graduate with if I went to college or not. My parents being Nigerian and very big advocates of education, I realized I had to get some form of education. So I took steps slowly, and I started to look vicariously at my friends and other people as they graduated, and I learned, and then I put that information into a book. And that book was titled Laddering Your Success. And so as I wrote the book, I realized books don't scale. You can't help that many people with a book. And so that's where the idea for creating technology came into play. I linked up with Wes Okiki of Fruition. It's an incubator here in Houston. And what they do is they help purpose-based companies in social entrepreneurship start up and move forward. And so We've built our MVP now. We're going to be releasing it here to a beta this semester, covering 6th to 8th grade, and then a public launch after that.
That's incredible, and I want to talk about your work with the HCC Foundation. I know Brittany. I want to bring her into this conversation because Brittany is probably one of the biggest supporters of the foundation itself because she's a foundation recipient herself.
Yeah, that's correct, Todd. I will always be forever grateful for the foundation, and I'm sure Festus can relate because it makes all the difference in the world between pursuing your education or going down a different life path. And for me, it was either going to school or going into the military. And I was very fortunate to be one of the students who was awarded a scholarship every year. And so my entire education at HCC was paid for by the foundation and their wonderful donors. And that helped me save a lot of money to be able to pursue my bachelor's degree and also graduate debt-free due to my dad being a veteran and the Hazelwood Legacy Act being activated for me to be able to go to school and use all of his unused college credit hours to earn my bachelor's degree. And like I said, I was able to graduate debt-free. So, it's it takes a weight off your shoulders, of course. And Festus, I admire all the hard work that you've put into what it is that you've done. I can't imagine having lost both my parents at such a young age, and your determination speaks volumes. And I know it inspires so many people around you.
Well, yeah,
it certainly does. And Festus, I got to admit, we love hearing these stories because people may wonder, about the foundation, what it's all about, and it gives back, and students like yourself and Brittany wouldn't have made it where you are if you didn't have that extra help.
Absolutely. And the mission of the foundation board is to help support the students financially. And often people think that, okay, if they get a Pell Grant, then that's enough. But we realized, especially here in Houston, we have a very diverse population that is comprised of I think it's around 55, almost 60% immigrants. And because of that, there's different barriers to getting educated and assimilating into the American culture. And so having that funding is necessary for even the school success.
Festus, I know the foundation was unable to have the annual gala, which was scheduled in the spring, but you guys did something a little different for the Black History Scholarship. Last week, you had a virtual breakfast, and it was live on our Facebook, and it was a fundraising effort. Maybe you can tell us, because I knew you were a speaker out for that. Tell us a bit about that event and how you were able to gauge success with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So typically the foundation has various galas in order to raise funds for various scholarships, one of which being the Black History Scholarship. And this year, unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to change lanes. And it says a lot about the adaptability of the leaders of the HCC Foundation and their ability to see a problem not as a problem, but as an obstacle, something that's supposed to be either climbed over or moved around. And that's exactly what they did. They ended up raising, I believe it was around $30,000. Wow. And so that's going to go to help students who are in need the most. Some of them have lost their jobs, and some of them have had difficult times even before this.
Well, and you made a good point because, and I brought this up before, but I remember it very well. After Hurricane Harvey, a lot of nonprofits in the Houston and surrounding areas suffered because funding that would usually be given to the nonprofits as a donation, many companies were keeping it for their own infrastructure, and many individuals are saying, look, I need that money right now for my family's needs. So a lot of nonprofits suffered, but the need was still there. And the same thing echoes as we're in the age of COVID right now. There are a lot of nonprofits out there that need the help.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, we benefit from companies doing well. Often people, sometimes talk about corporate greed, but they do not speak about corporate generosity. And oftentimes it translates into scholarships. And the foundation needs more companies to come alongside HCC to give even more donations, because these students then become employees. And so by making sure we have a well-educated society, we have well-educated employees as well. So you're right.
And folks who are watching out there, keep in mind our students, many of them are working right now. Many of them lost their job because of COVID. Many have been furloughed, have been laid off. The need is still there because they do need to complete their education. As you mentioned, we need to get them out there in the workforce too.
Absolutely. Transitioning from high school into any kind of post-secondary education can be very difficult, figuring out what to do, and then actually having what's called a livable wage. And HCC empowers many students to get a livable wage very soon after their graduation from high school. So that's really important. That's really important.
Festus, I know you guys have something coming up this weekend as well. Can you tell us a little about what you have going on?
Yes, absolutely. On Saturday morning, we're going to be giving a release of our app and basically showing teachers what the app does. Now, we realized that in order to empower as many students as possible, you're going to have to get into the classroom. Now, there's only a few ways to get into the classroom without being a distraction. And one of those ways is through lesson planning and assignments. So we've created a technology, an app, that automatically creates an assignment when the teacher does the lesson plan. This can save a teacher about 30 to 40% of their lesson planning time. And because they're saving so much time, they can then take that time, focus on their families, focus on their students, and different types of things like that. So on September 5th at 9:30 a.m., we'll be having an event. I do believe you have the link, and you'll provide the link to our watchers.
We will. We'll have the link to that in the event in our social media post for this show as well. So look for it, folks. Festus, your story is amazing. It's inspiring, and we appreciate you joining us this morning and wish you continued success.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you for being here. All right, we're going to go to Brittany and Raquel. Good morning again. Brittany, I'm going to toss things over to Raquel because she has some announcements from Stafford as some going-ons out there. Raquel.
Yes, thank you again for having me on. Things are going great out here in Stafford. As we all know, the brand new Early Childhood Center for SMSD opened up as well, and I was able to speak with a paraprofessional there, and she shared with me how they were moving things forward during this fall semester and how they were working with the students. They cater to pre-K going up to kindergarten, which is something that they never had before. So they're just excited about this year, and they're going to continue to move forward throughout the circumstances that's going on, because everything is, moving on to online, but working with toddlers is a bit difficult. So they're going to have some in-person instruction as well as some online instruction. And also Randall Williams had a chance to speak with the Texas Master Naturalist Program, which is a branch of the Texas AgriLife. Their mission is to serve and educate and just provide outreach for the community from a natural resources perspective. And so he was able to speak with them to see how they've adjusted throughout this whole pandemic. So he was able to catch up with them. Fernando Ramirez had a chance to go the extra mile with Second Mile Mission, which is an organization that has been around for over 30 years. And so they provide needs, whether it be food, clothing for individuals and, residents for the community. So he spoke with them to see how they're still pushing forward and providing for the community during these unprecedented times. And this week, we're super excited to cover a mask giveaway that's it's a donation for all SMSD teachers. So we're extremely excited about that, especially because throughout this time, it's great to see the community come together and really provide donations for these teachers, because it's a lot of them and they have to make sure, the teachers are at risk in regards to, just being around students and stuff. And so it's good to have that PPE, the mask, the gloves, all of the protective gear that they need to have so that they can do their job effectively and efficiently. And so that's what's going on our end. If you haven't had the chance to, please follow us on Facebook at HCC Southwest TV Studio, Stafford TV Studios, and on our Twitter at HCC SWTV Stafford. So please stay up to date with us on our YouTube channel. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you again, Todd, for having me.
Raquel, I've got a question for you. Has Stafford Municipal School District, have they started classes in person? Or are they going to be going online? Do you know what the plan is and how that's going to go forward?
If I'm not mistaken, they have started classes, but everything is being held online for the first, pretty much like the first 6 weeks, kind of like how HCC is doing things. They are holding online instruction, so that's what's going on. And it's except for like the early childhood center that actually has to meet in person.
All right, Raquel, thanks for joining us this morning. Stick around. We'll probably get you to chime in a few moments. I'm going to kick things over to Brittany. Brittany, big thing. We were talking foundation. It's a big deadline today for the foundation, especially if you need funding for the fall.
Absolutely, Todd. So we've been talking about this for quite some time. Students who are interested in applying for an HCC Foundation scholarship, the deadline is today. So if you, excuse me, if you've been waiting for the last minute, this is the last minute opportunity to apply. Do not sit on this opportunity. It could make the difference in your life, just as it has done for myself and for Festus, who joined us today. If you're interested, head over to hccsfoundation.org/scholarships. But Todd, not only do students have a big deadline today, faculty and staff also have a deadline that they need to meet today as well.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. COVID training. We're going to be returning to the buildings, and Talent Engagement has prepared a video that we all need to view and take the training before we go back to campuses. The deadline is today. If you don't do it, you're going to get on a list and your boss is going to have to call you. Trust me, that's what happens. So you don't want to get on a list. Just do the training. It's very simple. I did it. I was able to do it last week. You get cleared off the big list, and then you just go on with life. So it doesn't take long, Brittany. It's only a few minutes.
At most, Todd, I think it's about 15 minutes. So
Yeah.
faculty and staff, if you have not taken this mandatory training yet, you need to do so before a day's end. Otherwise, you're going to be slapped on that list that I don't think anyone ever wants to be on a list as it is, unless it's a list to get $1 million. Anyway, moving on, we've got outdoor Wi-Fi zones available to not just our HCC students, but also to our prospective students. So we have select campuses that are offering these Wi-Fi zones in our parking lot resources. So you will not, let me put this disclaimer out there, you will not have access to using the facilities in the building. And you also won't have access to outlets to charge your devices. So before you head out to one of our selected HCC campuses for the outdoor Wi-Fi zones, be sure you've, 1, used the facilities, and 2, you've charged all your devices ahead of time, or have something that you can charge your devices, because once again, you won't have access to the building. So if you are interested in checking out what campus offers the outdoor Wi-Fi zones, head over to hccs.edu/outdoor Wi-Fi.
Take a potty break before. Come on, that's what, use the facilities. I'm going to use the facilities. Yo, go take a potty break before you join us for.
We're adults, Todd. I say that to my dog.
Okay, all right. So I say other things to my dog. All right, like, get to it. Let's get on with it.
Yeah.
All right. You got questions about technology, textbooks, tutoring, more? Well, students, we've got some online services available for you, and they're in a one-stop shop. The online services toolkit is available to all students, and it's free of charge. You can go to hccs.edu/online-toolkit for more information. We'll have that link in there as well. And Brittany, Rec Sports is back.
Yes, Rec Sports is back now. Personally, I am not into playing active sports, but I will watch it. So for everyone who's interested in Rec Sports, they have fun, fit, and free events for the fall, including a Welcome Back Eagles activities and Madden 20 game league. I saw someone on Twitter who signed up for this, and she or he, I can't remember who, but they're ready to dominate. I mean, they're ready to take on the title. So if you're interested in following anything HCC Rec Sports related, they have their own Instagram and Facebook page. which is HCCS Athletics. You can also email them at sports@hccs.edu. But Todd, they also have something going on if you are interested in becoming a referee or an umpire. They're offering an online officiating course.
That's right. The online officiating course, I believe, well, I just jumped ahead here. $79. It's open to the community. You can, it's 5:30 to 7 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, September 9th through November the 12th. Football, basketball, baseball. If you want to sign up, go to Joseph, or email rather, joseph.harris@hccs.edu. We are out of time. We've run out of time. This show just went on by. So, Brittany, who do we have on tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Todd, we are going to welcome Dr. Amy Tan, who's Dean of English and Communications, who has run virtually across the state of Tennessee, which is more than 1,000 miles. Todd, I know you're a big avid runner, so I'm sure this is going to be a great topic for you to discuss with Dr. Tan.
So many questions I have for Dr. Tan tomorrow. We'll cover all that. She runs like crazy. And later this week, we'll spotlight the Visual and Performing Arts Center of Excellence with Megan Lasher of the Dance Program. And don't miss our virtual family fun guest, the Marine Mammal Center. I believe they're out in San Diego.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
so cool. That's going to be great for tomorrow's show. And be sure to join us for the rest of this week's Up to the Minutes. We've got a great lineup for you all out there. And don't forget to like us on our social media pages and YouTube. And don't forget to share this podcast.
Brittany, Raquel, thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you'll be back tomorrow. Brittany will be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow morning live at 10 a.m. on Up to the Minute.